Hello, it's Saturday morning. Ooh. I'm watching my morning catch up on YouTube, and I was just watching John Flannery. He is a lawyer, an attorney, and he also lets us know what's going on from the legal perspective of what's going on in the country, etc. And yesterday I was saying how I didn't want to do knee-jerk reactions. Who's guilty of that? Me. I apologize. And a friend of mine sent me a link. I looked it up. And yes, people of color are getting messages saying that they are going to be working on a plantation, which is heinous. And they've tried to find out the source of that, who did it, where are they located, blah, blah, blah. And the person is using a VPN, very private network thing, and they can't quite find it. I would think there'd be a way. If it's out there, there should be a way to find. But in the interim, a lot of people are getting these notices, and depending upon how much fear is built into you, fear is like prying a lid off of a paint can. You get the knife, the dull knife that you use to scrape mud off your shoes, in there to pry it open. That's the fear. And yeah, I have a lot of fear because of my past and being abused and all that stuff. And am I stupid? I don't think so, but maybe I am. I've been to college, so what? I know. I know a lot of things, a little bit about a lot of things. So what? Fear can still work in you, no matter who you are or what you are. And I was thinking, if you give a bunch of little kids, sit them down at a table, and everybody has their own jar of jelly beans. Multiple flavored jelly beans. You've got the licorice ones that are black and the white ones, which are, I don't know what they are. Ones that are fruit flavored, ones that are like wintergreen or peppermint. These could be jelly bellies or whatever, but one kid might not be able to eat the candy. One kid doesn't like the licorice ones and pulls those all out. One kid doesn't like the weird flavors that are like the white jelly beans, and nobody really knows what the flavor is. Pretty soon you've got all these kids sitting around, and there might be a couple kids that have none of them pulled out. They embrace every jelly bean that they've been given and actually ask the other kids, if you don't want those, I'll take them. It's kind of like our country. Through history, we've had various nations that had problems, either governmental problems or famine and blight and all that. And they just couldn't make a living at all. And they would come here, and some came as refugees from war-torn areas. So this country is chock full of all kinds of jelly beans. And just because I don't like the weird flavored ones that are blue doesn't mean that the whole nation has to reject those. No. That might be someone else's favorite one. We've learned to get along in this country. Now, granted, there's some people and some practices that irk me, especially from people from nations that were so full of people that when they come here, they still do the pushing and shoving, and they don't care about anyone else. There are some nations like that, and I kind of have a thing against it, but I don't go saying everybody, this group of people here are ignorant. That's their culture. They came from that. They can't help it. We can learn to tolerate it. We've tolerated a lot in our 200 and almost 50 years, right? Yeah. Anyway, where am I going with this? I'm apologizing for my knee jerk reaction, but still, those kind of things are horrendous. I think I am prejudiced against ignorance. I'm prejudiced against people that don't want to know, don't want to learn, they don't care, they don't want anyone else to know more than them. It's just, and they shove their way to the front, and the sun shines out their ass, and, no, that's not right. If you are with other human beings, you have to get along. You have to. Now, you could be nice about it and say, I don't like the way you do this, or explain to them why you don't like that. And maybe people have not explained to others that bothers me, because communication is important. I've always been the person in my family that wants to be the peacekeeper and the communicator. We only got together basically when we had supper. And that's when everything would fly loose, because everybody was there. People that have table talk time with their families, or reasoning times, or whatever, I think that's a good idea, because that way it doesn't build up and build up. You could talk about it. You could maybe work out a solution. It's going to be tough, I think. Hopefully, some things will happen that will be beneficial to all of this. And people need to be a little more accepting. Now, granted, I don't care what religion you have. You could worship ants. I don't care. Just don't shove it down my face, Don't come telling me I have to be listening to your ant god. Or if you want separate pronouns, that's fine. I didn't grow up with that kind of thing, and it seems weird to me, but I'm not going to tell you can't. Just don't expect me to remember what they are, because I am old and I wasn't raised in that fashion. So I apologize to anyone if I don't get their pronouns right. And what have I said so far? I don't even know. Yeah, I read the statement that about the kids were getting plantation work notices. I read what had been said, and whoever put it, whomever, there you go. That's what it is. If it's an official thing, they should have a correct grammar and correct spelling, and it didn't. So, being a spelling nerd when I was a kid comes in handy sometimes. It helps you on the ground level try to figure out if this is real or not. Is this real life, or is this just fantasy? Yeah. Well, I get to watch Little Guy today, and I'm getting better with the neti pot, but there's still sinus stuff up there that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Inconceivable. Okay, enough. Yeah, I haven't had enough sleep, if you can tell. In a few days, hopefully, this nose thing will be cleared up and I'll be able to sleep and snore and wake everyone else up. Such is life. Tolerated, eh? Upward and onward.